Let's now go to the streets of Nairobi, where CGTN's Nick Mudimba is standing by. Nick, so what's the situation right now after yesterday's protests?
Absolutely, Beatrice. So today it's rather a silent day compared to yesterday because there's nothing happening in the streets of Nairobi and of course other towns outside Nairobi. But there is an unusual heavy police presence across the city and of course the parliament buildings where around 3 lorries or 4 lorries of general service unit officers have been deployed just to man the gates of parliament. So it's a rather silent day, but there's not much happening. Only that in the morning few protesters had gone and disrupted the normal activities of their parliamentary gates, but right now things are actually very silent, Beatrice.
There were reports of injuries, Nick, and heavy cost to business after the 2 days of protest this week. Where do things stand today?
For today, things are very different. But when you look at, let's say, the injuries, and there's only a number of injuries reported and 1 death that really happened yesterday, which is very unfortunate, of a young man. But today, what is happening in Parliament is basically a situation whereby the parliamentarians are now trying to gather what they did yesterday. Now, next week is when we'll be having the parliamentarians coming together in committees to discuss the bill clause by clause so that it can move to the next stage. But as it is today, nothing much is happening in the parliament. But as it is also, Beatrice, is that most of the security personnel are on standby and very alert just in case anything happens right now.
And what's the next step for the finance bill that caused the protests?
Sure. So the finance bill, as it is right now, after yesterday's second reading, now next week on Tuesday, we'll be having a situation whereby now parliamentarians will be debating on each clause to make sure that indeed they are at par in terms of agreements, in terms of now coming together to augur well with the decisions that the second round actually transpired. But this will be a very sensitive stage whereby most of them will be trying to debate those contentious clauses that is making the protests even more bigger in the country, because these are the clauses. For example, now many people feel like the fuel prices that has been proposed to be hiked in the country is unfair to many motorists, unfair to the country, because already life is very hard for many residents here in Kenya, Beatrice.